My name is Naomi Avila, and I am a counselor at Mount SAC. And today I'm going to be presenting about our programs. I work with Impact Adults with Disabilities and also vocational reentry. I will cover both programs because our students are able to access both. And at any time, if you have a question, go ahead and let me know. Okay, I always ask or inform people why we are here. Why do we have this program at Mount SAC? Our purpose is to help students develop their social, personal, academic, vocational, and independent living skills. And we also want to have a structured environment where students are able to develop, manage appropriate patterns of behavior within a social and vocational context, and also to develop a person-centered educational plan by assessing what students' needs are, their interests and capabilities. Our goal is to be holistic and address every aspect of the student. IMPACT actually is an acronym, as you can see here. It's I's independent living skills, M is mobility training, P physical health and well-being, A advocate for self, C college career and job readiness skills, and T technology training. And our classes, Brasida will speak a little bit about our classes after I'm done, but the goal is that all these things you see here are incorporated within our courses that we offer to our students. I put this up here because I started getting questions from parents asking how their students will be able to access the classroom, because there was initially sometimes confusion as to comparing us non-credit to credit classes. And our instructors use what we call universal design for learning. So if students need text to speech or text to read or speech to text, instructors are going to meet the students where they're at. And again, Brasida will give a little more information about how she addresses that. And then students do not have to be at a certain level of reading. We take all students. That's not an issue. The only criteria we have for students is that if they have aggressive behavior, then that's something we can't allow, only because that goes against our Mount SAC student standards of conduct. This is really the key of our program, is that students have to be 18 years of 18 years of age. They do not need a high school diploma or certificate of completion. That's what we have here in California. Our courses are open entry, open exit, and I say this is one of our biggest strengths. So for example, say the semester starts in August and it's now October. Students can still come and register for a class, even if, as long as there's room in the class. So that's what we mean by open entry. And then open exit means, say a student took a class and then now they feel like, this isn't something for whatever reasons, maybe it's not working with their schedule, they can stop it. We're not gonna, penalize students for that. And then also we do not have formal grades. For example, A's, B's, C's, and there's no GPA involved. We have what we call progress indicators. So we have P, pass, SP, satisfactory pass, and NP, no pass. And one of the biggest things, our classes are free. There is no cost to register. And we offer both in-person and online, and I'll discuss that a little in a minute, and asynchronous and synchronous courses offerings. And we have some off-site classes as well within our local community. Here's some examples of classes we offer: health and fitness, consumer skills, money skills, memory building, romantic relationships, lifelong learning, basic budgeting and money management, interacting with emergency personnel. So this is just an example. This is not the entire list, but as you can see, we really offer a variety of classes, as I mentioned, addressing just various areas that students will encounter. Okay, that was our impact. I'm going to talk about vocational, but at this point, does anyone have any questions? We can take some at the end, but at this moment, anyone have any questions? Okay. All right. We also have vocational reentry programs, and these are to help students get new experiences, new skills, if they want to start a new career pathway. And these are also free. They could be just to pursue a personal interest, to get ready to develop job skills, to become involved in the community, or to become a volunteer. We offer 6 certificates. We have Office Computer Applications Level 1. So students will need to take these 2 classes and then one of these. As long as they pass, they have to get that P, they'll earn the certificate. If they want to continue to the next level, Office Computer Applications Level 2, then they take these 2. Sorry about that. We have basic Excel applications, and they take these 3 courses. Same thing with basic computer presentation. They would take these 3. Then micro enterprise. And, we have a lot of students who have great skills, whether it's, creating something, making something, or art. And these classes will teach them like how to start a home-based business, how to manage and grow it. And the mobile information technology, that's like learning how to access technology to be able to, market and sell their products. And then we have sewing and tailoring, and students would take those 3 classes. So students can pursue any of these certificates or all of them. And again, these are all free. I have a list of the classes because you don't have to pursue a certificate. If a student just wants to take basic computing level 1, just to learn the computer, how to do, Word documents, Excel, etc., they can just take that class. They don't have to pursue the certificate, but we do offer these as well independently. And they're the same courses I just pointed out. And then we also offer what we call our home-based business and cottage industry. So we have classes like home gardening, sewing and design. We talked about starting a home-based business. We also have jewelry production design, beginning decorative art production for retail sales. So these are classes that we offer, and these are, I don't want to say they're in person. There are some online as well. Speaking of online, we offer synchronous and asynchronous. I'm guessing most everyone is familiar with this because we all went through the pandemic together. So synchronous is live, what we're doing right now. It's, students are engaged, live time. And then asynchronous is students may meet for a little bit with an instructor and other students, but then they would work independently. So we offer both of these. Once students become Mountain SAC students, they do a non-credit application. We would do a student intake. Then they would get their Mountain SAC portal. And this is where they're able to access their classes. Like over here is Canvas. I'm not sure if you use that. I know that's using a lot of educational systems, Canvas. And we'll help students like get going, how to claim their portal, and how to navigate the system for their classes. Whenever I meet with a student initially, we have what we call at Mountain SAC guided pathways. It's to help students, along their educational journey, because if they know what they want to do, then we're able to help them, reach and meet those goals. So I'll ask, what is your goal? What is it you want to do? And, I have this little guide say, some students want to work on self-determination. Some are looking, I want to do a college and career focus or focus on independent living skills, or it can be all 3, right? It doesn't have to be just one. So we discuss about what it is they want to pursue. And sometimes they'll say, I don't know. And I say, that's perfectly fine. That's why you're here. And we can always follow up to see what it is you do want to focus on. And this is what we call our student education plan. This is a plan that we'll sit with a student and say, well, what is it you want to take? It's to map out their goals. It's to help them stay on track. It's a tool for us to communicate with each other. And it's updated and modified as needed. And I always say, it's not a contract. Don't worry. You don't have to, follow this to a T. And so as a counselor, my goal is to support students with educational course planning. What are the courses they want to do that are going to help them meet their goals? Career and college planning. So to do a credit application can be very tedious. There's lots of steps. But I will sit with the student, we'll do that. And then, we have our access program, which is our department over on the credit side that works with adults with disabilities. and I'll get them set up with that as well. And I provide referrals to campus support services, for example, Axis or community agencies. We work with Regional Center. We have students who maybe want to come on campus, and maybe they need a coach, or the parent wants to have a coach come with the student because they're not able to. So we can communicate with various agencies. Personal counseling, sometimes there's issues going on in classrooms, or someone's upset about something, and I have an open door policy. Students know they could come and ask for me, and as long as I'm available, sit and talk with them, and then provide appropriate interventions as needed. My goal is to help them, reach their goals, whether it's academic, career, or personal. Here's the link for the online non-credit application. Once you go there, you're able to it'll say new user, and you'd click on that, and then it would take you to the application. Okay. Then now I'm going to have Briseida talk about this.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I do see a question in the chat, and yes, they are able to meet with you virtually. And so that's why we're here, right? Let's just sort of talk about our online program. And we do have online classes. We have counseling that our counselors do that's online. And did we say that we're free? Did we forget that? Let's talk about that. We're free. So our whole program, any of the classes that you choose through our School of Continuing Ed online, they're all free. Some may have material fees, that you just might need to grab on your own, but they are free. So again, open exit, open entry. You can come in, you can come out. You're like, this is not for me. And they are free. So no one really loses out if you decide that it's not for you. Also, here we have our Exemplary Program Award that was that we won in was it 2021, 22? I don't know. It was last year, and only 2 programs in the state won, and we were one of them. And so what makes us unique and what makes us awesome is that we don't have entry criteria. So any student with a disability can come with us and learn, can come with us and grow, can come with us and socialize. So our program is really inclusive because, again, we're online. So we're talking to you from California. So anyone that has an online connection can hop on and take any of our classes. We don't have certain reading levels, like Naomi was saying. We don't have any entry criteria. So I know there's lots of other programs out there, but they do have certain requirements. And so I do want to emphasize that part, that our program does not have any entry criteria. I mean, you guys are online, so, if you're having a bad day or you don't feel like, coming to class that day, that's okay. You don't have to come, and you just let us know. You communicate that with your professor, and, that's pretty much it. And, we'll see you next time. So we are very flexible. We have programs that are on the college campus. We have programs that are in the community centers, and then we have online. And that's sort of what makes our program sort of exemplary, is that we really do focus on the student and how to make them succeed. That's sort of what our main focus is. And then I am going to give you some success stories that we've had with our students. So some of our students have, pre-pandemic, they started coming to us, and our campus is pretty huge. So, and there's a lot of hills, and it's very complicated. So they started coming to us, and asking for classes on campus. So we started offering classes on campus, and our students really enjoy being a part of the Mount SAC campus life. So anytime there's any activity happening, and this is online too. So if there's a Zoom event during our class, we usually all hop on. We've had lots of different trainings that have happened online that our class sort of goes together virtually, or if we are in person, we go together in person. For some of these events, if you sign up for the virtual link, you also get some free gear, and who doesn't love free gear? So there's that. And then so as our students were coming, they realized that it was a little bit overwhelming to go straight from their high school or transition program into the credit side of college. And so they were not succeeding after the first semester. So we created these classes. We have curriculum that's pretty amazing. And they have come, they've gained the skills, they've gained the confidence, and then they've transferred over to credit side. And on their hardest days, they still contact us to, vent and to ask for some help and ask for tools, because it is a little bit harder. Obviously once you get to the credit side, I don't know if you remember, but college math and college English are hard. And so one of the things to also take into account is that in college, there is no curriculum modification. So I know sometimes, like I have a son, right? He's in first grade. And so he only has to do 70% of the work that the rest of the class has to do. But in college, everyone has to do the same amount of work. So if it's a 10-page paper that's due every Friday, then it's a 10-page paper that's due every Friday for everyone. The only sort of accommodations are, a scribe, note taker, extended time on tests or assignments, a recorder, things like that. But the curriculum itself stays the same. So there is no modification when it comes to curriculum. And that's what makes it a little bit hard, because jumping from modification of curriculum to now no modification of curriculum makes the transition a little bit difficult. And so our classes help with those as well. Also in California, we don't have the intro level English and math anymore. So everyone starts at college level, and that can also be difficult because you're talking about the sort of rate of learning is a lot faster. Everything has to be turned in. So our classes help with that as well. And, we've had students that have gone over, it was hard, but they've done really well on the credit side. One of our students was doing Python, which is hard. It's like computer coding, sciencey stuff that I don't understand. And they're, being successful with that. And we have students that don't want to go that route. And so they take some of our other courses that deal more with living skills, independent living skills. And, they were being dropped off initially, and now they're coming independently on their own, whether it's through a bus or Access, which is our kind of like Uber for people with disabilities here at California. So we've had a lot of successes with our students becoming independent in whatever area they are wanting to be independent in. And the other area that is huge for our students is, of course, socialization. So even though our class is called Romantic Relationships, there are a lot of sort of prerequisite skills that need to be mastered before you get into relationships. And they work really hard on those, creating boundaries, really being able to communicate effectively, and then asserting boundaries when those are crossed. So we've had a lot of success in those areas, and that's sort of what makes our program pretty special. Also, when it comes to our classes that we have for us, we have our independent living skills, which range from money, banking, lifelong learning, right? Some of our students don't want to be on the credit side, and they might not want to work either, but they still want to come to class. They still want to learn. And so they go that route. And then we are currently developing workforce curriculum. So we are working on social skills for the workplace, and then rights and responsibilities for the workplace. And these are skills that for some come really naturally and really easily, but for others, it's really hard to distinguish between, is this a friend, or is this is this a coworker, and am I allowed to send the same meme to my coworker that I would send to my friend? And if I do, and they are offended, why are they offended? So that's sort of the, things that we cover in social skills for the workplace. So our curriculum is pretty expansive: independent living skills, workforce skills, and lifelong learning. And then, like Naomi was showing you, we also have a lot of computer classes through our vocational reentry program, which are just, they work really well at, giving you the skills that you need to work with Excel or any sort of Microsoft program. Which one is it called? The digital publishing. That one is really good too. Creative publishing. So we have lots of classes, and a lot of this, again, is online. It's free, so you can always sign up, try it out. If you don't like it, then you drop the class and you didn't lose out on any money. So that's what sort of makes it even better, because you're able to trial the class, the curriculum, the program, and it costs $0. So that's my spiel. Let me know if you have any questions.
My mind is racing with all the possibilities. So yeah, it's very cool what you're offering. Very, very cool.
Thank you. We have, like I said, we are always wanting to share our program with everyone, because we know that these programs are not really in existence for adults with disabilities. And if they are in existence, they usually cost a lot of money. And there is entry criteria for those programs too. Like, they have to be able to, read at a certain level, do math at a certain level. And our classrooms are really inclusive in that we have all different types of levels in our classes. I mean, we have students that, are learning how to read, to those that can read really, really well. And we service all of them. We challenge all of them. For some of our students that haven't been in school in a while, it's eye-opening when they came in and not being able to read, and now they can read. One of our students is, I think, 54, and is just learning to enjoy reading. So it's pretty amazing to see and to hear those things, and to see the growth that is happening with all of our students. So again, we use universal design. So all of our curriculum and lesson plans and everything is given in a way so that all students can really identify with the material, and then really kind of give us what they're learning in creative ways. Like, we have students that are really great with PowerPoint, so they can create PowerPoint presentations of the information that they've learned. We have some that are really great at tests, so then, they prefer to do the test or the papers, or projects. All of those things are really good, and we're really sort of flexible in the way that our students are able to show us that they are learning. So, it works.
Generally, how long are your courses?
So our fall and spring semesters are usually 16 weeks. Some classes go for 17, but they're usually 16 weeks. And then in the winter, it is 6 weeks. And in the summer, it is 8 weeks, I believe. And I believe Sage, our director, has posted the winter schedule links. So, and again, you can try it out for winter, see if you like it, or maybe you're not ready, but you want to see a class. You can always, email Naomi, and she can set up a tour, even though it's online, to come into our class, our virtual class, and check it out just to see if, what it's like, and if you like it or if you don't like it. So, thankfully with Zoom, we're very flexible. This is how it is in person, is if someone wants to come and check out the class, they, would come into the classroom. And so it's the same with Zoom. We're just digitally coming into the class and checking it out and seeing what and who is in there and what's happening.
Yeah, I just want to add that I often communicate with, parents and students via phone or Zoom. So, we do have our person, but, whatever works for the student is what we do. We're very flexible that way.
I have a question with you there. Can you talk a little bit more about this program for interacting with a big one? What is it?
I don't know if I didn't get the question.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're a little, it's breaking up a little.
So my question was, can you talk a little bit more about sports interacting with?
Did you say interacting with authorities?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So our curriculum comes to us from stakeholder meetings. So if you are interested in attending one of those, you can always come. We hold them right now virtually. But one of the areas that a few years back was brought to us was that a lot of our students with disabilities are not great at communicating when it comes to police or fire, or even making a 911 call. And so we created this class to really kind of work on those skills and really sort of help our students be able to identify the necessary information when you are either reporting a crime, calling and asking for help, right? There are certain things that you need to be able to say about where you are, what the emergency is, all of those things. And we virtually and in person will bring volunteer police officers that, or on campus we have our own campus police, but we've brought over virtually police officers that come and they just talk to our students, because we want both of them to learn how to communicate with each other, essentially, because that is a huge piece of safety, right? I mean, you've heard the horror stories, and so that's what we really try to do, is to help our students identify the best way to communicate. And for some, it really is, they have like a card and they, will say, I have a card, and then they pull it out and they give it to the police officer, which then gives them time to process, to calm down, and it lets the police officer know that, no, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just, needing a little extra time to sort of figure out what's happening before I'm able to answer those questions. And also when you go to the doctors, right? We want to be able to say and point to what exactly is not feeling correct, and instead of I don't know, right? Because then the doctor's sort of left to try to figure out what is happening, and most of the time they don't get it right because we're not able to at least help out in that area. So there's a lot of self-advocacy that goes along with all of our classes, because we want all of our students to be as independent as they possibly can be. And that takes a lot of confidence, right? It takes a lot of confidence to put yourself out there, and to make someone talk to you and look you in the eye and talk to you, and not your helper. You're the student, you're the person that's in charge, you're the person that is calling or asking for help. So, that confidence and being able to self-advocate and say like, hey, I'm here and I need help, and these are the areas that I need help with. So we really teach our students and how to do that. And that's why we created that class, is because our stakeholders said, we are scared with some of these stories that are coming out, and we really want our students, our family members, to be okay whenever they are interacting with police, essentially. But yeah, so that's that class. I don't know if anybody else has questions, but I can talk about all the classes if you want me to.
I'm gonna say, I have a ton of questions, but I don't want to monopolize everyone's time. So let me just start with a couple. I keep thinking, and what's the catch? Because we're in Utah and you're in California, and you're still gonna let our students attend your wonderful program for free. Naomi, you're gonna take that one?
Well, I was just saying, no, we already have that. For example, I know in adult basic education, students working on their adult diploma and high school currency, there's students from like New York, all over, and they're free. So just like that, you're right, just like that. There's no catch.
The catch is you got to come to class. I mean, that's the catch, right? The program is there. It's free. You just have to come to class. That's it. We have the classes there, and thanks to the pandemic, that's the one good thing, right? Is that we are really able to sort of now service the online population, whereas before it was just sort of campus and then the community. But now we're able to kind of grow out there. And I know during the pandemic for our older adult program, I think there was someone from like Australia or something. I mean, it was wild how far we went. So the catch is you just have to come to class.
And there are some students who are exclusively online still, so they don't have to come in person or be present 50% online. If they want us exclusively do online, that's perfectly fine. Again, whatever works for the student.
And I noticed the law enforcement class is an in-person offering right now. Do they vary, like depending on the time of year? Other things will be offered online or in person?
Well, that all depends on how many students come and how many students are registered. So they, our higher ups look at trends, and so if they start seeing a higher trend of people coming online, then they start offering more. But if they start seeing less, then they offer less. But usually in the winter and the summer, because we see a drop off of students, they want a break, then we have a little bit less. But the spring and the fall is usually where all of our classes are offered, and there's a lot more sort of offered because more students come to those. So that's why that's the catch. You see, you have to come.
If I can chime in, I'm sorry, I don't have my camera on. My name is Sage Overroy. I'm the director of the program. And what Brazeda is getting at, our funding is based on attendance. So in order for us to offer classes, we do need students attending. But the way we typically try to schedule is we offer different classes at different times of year. So right now we don't have emergency personnel online, but we will in a future term. And our instructors are really fantastic at letting us know what their students are wanting to learn. We have the most incredible faculty that are they pay so much attention to their students' needs and interests. And so as soon as they hear that they have students interested in interacting with emergency personnel, they tell me, and then I make sure we get it on the schedule. So we try to be really responsive to all of our students' needs and interests.
I have a question. So while you were talking, I was looking online to your website, and I noticed that, I think if I'm looking at the right college, I noticed that, you know, you do offer some college degrees. Is there a way for either our children or our child or our clients to participate in the impact program and then transition to college level classes when they're ready?
They can always transition. My first thought goes to how would they handle out of state? Would that be an issue? I don't know. That's something I would need to look into.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now that you mentioned that, as far as the credit side, because it's online, right? So yeah, but they can always transition. That there's, yeah, and that's where we have our relationship with Access, where, you know, like Brazeda was talking about, maybe the curriculum is not modified, however, the modifications are in what type of support the student's going to get in the classroom. And a key thing is the student has to inform the instructor. I mean, there's so many instructors across campus, and, you know, you get a class of 30 students, you don't know who may need accommodations, who may not. So it's entirely up to the student to email the instructor, and Access has really made it very convenient where it's all online and all they have to do is forward to the instructor the accommodations. But I want to say it's possible, but I would want to find out if there's any issue with, you know, out of state tuition, etc. So I'd need to follow up with you.
That's an excellent question, though.
Thanks. I was just thinking of, you know, of my daughter, how she would definitely benefit from the impact program. But, you know, after a few years, maybe she would be ready for a standard college class.
Yeah, and we're trying to develop sort of a pathway just to ease our students, you know, sort of level by level. So, you know, they would start off with us and then probably go to another non-credit, which is free program, which works kind of at a higher pace than we do, kind of starting to get them ready. And then you can go into the Access class. But those out-of-state fees, I don't know. I don't know how that works with that, but that's a great question for that. But at least for our program and for any other program in non-credit, they are free.
Awesome. Thank you.
And there are the certificates that you can still get, right? So you can still get those and, you know, add those to the resume and things as free certificates.
And we also have, I worked with a short-term vocational program. There are certain programs they have there as well. Those are our certificates. I can't think, right now I'm thinking a lot of them are in person though. I'd have to see which ones they have online. For example, they might have payroll and tax accounting certificate, and that is online as well.
Okay, I hope that my audio is better now, but the question I guess I have too is, have you had any success with students transferring from your impact program onto a credit side, you know?
Yeah, so we definitely have. We've seen some of our students that, you know, I was talking earlier, I had a student that was doing Python, which is computer science, very hard coding. He lost me a long time ago because he was so great at it. And then we've had our students that have gone over and done the English and the math courses online. And like I said, it's not an easy thing, but they are doing it and they are successfully doing it. And they just need, you know, some help here and there. But I think that we're creating these pathways to make it a little bit easier for students that transfer over, because now they don't have those sort of lower math and English courses available.
And even within the college, they have tons of support services. They have a lot of tutoring, they have the writing center. I mean, they really have a lot of support for students because, you know, like I always say, we want our students to succeed and to have the support systems in place to make that happen. So it's not even just access, it's tutoring centers all around that will help students as well.
And they do have virtual hours.
And I just want to say, I know sometimes when you hear a presentation, there's like so much information. And if you just want to meet with me, you can always just send me an email if you have other questions or some questions come up. Okay.
Do you have your contact information listed? Am I just blind to where? Is it online?
She's going to post it right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay. If there are no more questions for Naomi and Brisenda, I'd love to introduce Jenny Dopp from the Transition University here at the Utah Parents Center. She is going to talk to us a little bit about what to expect after high school in the state of Utah and what programs are available here, as well as the amazing Mount San Antonio College as an option for everyone as well. We'd love to thank you guys for your time. What an amazing program. I know, Lisa, I'm 100,010% with you on what in the heck is the catch. I have so many questions, and again, I will not take up any time answering them, but thank you for letting us know where to find you, and thank you again for your time. Jenny?
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen, and this is a little bit of a different take on what you've already heard tonight. Can you all see that? Mindy, is that showing?
Yep, we can see.
Okay, perfect. So some of you are familiar with the Utah Parent Center's programming, and so there might be a chance you've already gone through Transition University. And so don't worry, tonight is not going to be a total repeat of Transition University. I'm just talking about a select few components of Transition University to kind of give you a little taste test and a little sampling of what we have to offer, some of our resources and also resources around the state. So I will get started here. My name is Jenny Dopp, and I'm the Transition University Coordinator. And so I've had the complete honor to finish putting this program together. It's a 3-year grant cycle that we just finished this past fall. And it was funded in part through the Utah Developmental Disabilities Council and Transition University through the Utah Parent Center. And so never before has all of this information been put into one place. And we have several different areas of focus. So all of our curriculum is color coded so that as we go through our different modules, whether it's in our workbooks, our website, our training presentations, everything will be color coded so you know exactly where to find the material. So on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see the different areas that we cover: citizenship and advocacy, daily life, and daily life could include things like employment, the transition IEP, daily living skills, anything that can help your youth gain more skills and independence. We also have our community living section, which talks a lot about self-determination, person-centered planning, maybe helping youth as well as parents understand things like, where does your youth want to live in 5 years? What type of job would your youth like to have? Do you always want mom handling your doctor's appointments, or what do you want your life to look like? And I know, I have a son who's Jackson. He's 22 years old, and he has a rare chromosome duplication and autism. And so I've always run the show. I've always, made all the appointments and made all the decisions. And now as he's getting older and his cognitive ability is a little bit more developed, he's able to have some more choice and some more input. And so it's been a really good opportunity for me to kind of take a step back and think, how can I let Jackson have more choice in his life? Then we also cover safety and security. This would be topics like ABLE accounts, supplemental needs trust, guardianship, conservatorship, power of attorney, all of those types of areas. And then social and spiritual, and then healthy living. And this is transitioning from your pediatric healthcare over to adult healthcare. In the middle of your screen, you'll see a sample of our website. And if you go to utahparentcenter.org and you click on resources, you'll find a tab for transition, and it will have boxes for you for all the different ages and stages of life. And one of those areas that we cover is this transition to adulthood. And then once you get into that module, you'll see all of these colors and all of the topics. And then when you click on a color, let's say you clicked on the yellow daily life topic, it would take you to your bottom right-hand corner of your screen, which shows you the daily life and employment section of the website. So all of the trainings, if you've been through Transition University and you've sat through, that month of training, each of those modules is now broken down and recorded into separate modules on our website. We also have these 3 books for you. And let me go back one slide. I'm going to grab these links for you. And let me see if I can stick them in the chat really quick for you. So here's all of the links to all of these books. So we have our youth work booklet, and this is geared towards youth. It's visually written for youth. The pictures are for youth, and it's an opportunity for you to go through and do worksheets with your youth. Like I can go through the booklet with Jackson and teach him about all the different areas that we've covered in those different color-coded sections. Sorry, my Zoom is freaking out here. Okay, and then we also have our choices booklet, which is geared more towards our parents and our professionals, and we really go into a lot of detail in the choices booklet. In both booklets, you'll find QR codes, you'll find links to websites, you'll find all the things for all the topics. We've really tried to make them detailed. They're each about 100 pages, and it's meant to be a resource for you that you can refer back to again and again. And then the last booklet that we have is our guardianship booklet. And this will help you understand all of the different components and aspects of guardianship and how to obtain guardianship. Okay. And sorry, can you guys see that okay?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so this transferred from Google Slides over to PowerPoint. Now, obviously, it didn't love it. So sorry about the way it's looking visually on the screen. But tonight, we just wanted to talk a little bit about transition and all of the different components. So you have to think about transition. What is it like leaving school? What's happening when the school bus stops coming? Do you want to move out of your parents' home? What type of a job might be an opportunity for you? And so here are just a few quick areas. I know it looks like a lot of information, but I'm going to make it quick for you. I know you're tired. It's been a long day, but I wanted to quickly touch on advocacy, vocational rehabilitation, post-secondary options that are similar to what you listened to tonight around the state of Utah, and then our independent living centers. Just really quickly on advocacy, this is important for us to not only have our youth learn self-advocacy concepts, but also as parents, we've always been, the person to speak for our kids or to advocate for them, whether that's in the school or in the doctor's office. But just because school is ending doesn't mean that that process needs to stop. I'm always trying to teach Jackson how to advocate for himself, how to explain how he's feeling, what he wants his life to look like. How are you liking your job? Do you feel like you're being treated well? What do you want to do at school? Where do you want to focus on? Would you like to change jobs? Also, I've been able to take Jackson to the legislature and to testify with Jackson before the legislature to try to get more funding for disability programs in Utah. For instance, the DSPD waitlist. We're on the DSPD waitlist. We've been on the waitlist since he was about 13 or 14 years old, and he just keeps climbing higher on the waitlist. And so it's opportunities like that. When I understand where we've been with disability legislation, I can help keep moving the ball forward through his advocacy work and my own advocacy work. And so it's just little things like teaching them to speak up, teaching them to share their opinions, and teaching them to have their own voice rather than just looking to me to answer for him. Okay, so let's jump into it. After public school, what's next? So when that school bus stops coming, what's the plan? Is it just going to be video games in my basement, or are there other options for Jackson? So I know you may have heard about vocational rehabilitation before. This past week, actually, I've been working with the leaders of vocational rehabilitation, and we've been doing kind of a deep dive because as a parent, I felt like I understood finally in his senior year of high school what VR was, but I didn't understand how to get the services from VR to Jackson. I just felt like the water was not getting to the end of the row. And so we're developing some curriculum for parents to try to help them understand that better. But that's one thing I wanted to focus on tonight, is it's not just something that you can do when you're working on your IEP in school. This is something you can tap into right now. It's never too late. You just need to call vocational rehabilitation. They'll have you go through an orientation. You just fill out an application and you provide your child's or your youth's information, like their disability, their diagnosis, whether or not they've been approved for SSI. You give them your information and they'll check for eligibility, and then they'll meet with me and with Jackson, and they'll talk to Jackson about what he likes to do, what are his strengths, where does he see, what kind of a job would he enjoy working in, and then they would determine whether or not he qualifies and help either find him a job coach or something called pre-employment training services, or PREETs, and they would help him gain the training necessary to be successful in that role. And they wouldn't just leave him floundering, they would help guide him along this path. And it's possible that they could even involve outside community organizations. And the great thing about PREETs is that there's, and also VR, is there's funding attached to it. So depending upon what Jackson wants and what Jackson needs, he might qualify for funding through VR for employment or through for education supports. It just depends on which direction we want to go. So I know it seems like a lot to navigate, but don't discount VR. Really tap into the services that are available here in Utah. The other thing you'll want to hold on to when you leave school is your summary of academic achievement and functional performance. And basically what this is it kind of takes the information from your IEP, and it's something that you can take with you as you try to move into secondary education. It kind of gives a background on your youth. So there are some college options here in Utah, and I loved this program that we heard about tonight. It's really different and distinct, and I think it's a great tool for a lot of people. There's other individuals that might be here in Utah and they want something that's in person. And so every college has a disability office. Like they said tonight, it's not like your IEP transfers over completely, but there are accommodations that can be provided. And so you want to take your last IEP or that summary of performance to Salt Lake Community College or to Weber or to UVU and just talk to them and see what they have to offer and see what might be a good fit for your youth. In our yellow section of the teen book, we have a page in there that talks all about goals and different skills that might be necessary to participate in a college program. And so, because when I looked at like Aggies Elevated or Wolverines Elevated here in Utah, I just thought, is Jackson a good fit for these programs? And I wasn't sure. And so that list, that checklist in our teen or our youth work booklet in the yellow section really helped to, kind of clue in what are some goals that I can work on with Jackson. So let's get into these programs. The first one is at Utah State in Logan, and it's Aggies Elevated. And it's one of our youth advisory board members that sits on our youth advisory board is actually attending the program, and she's having the time of her life. She attends the one, Aggies Eastern, but people are loving it. There's a great success rate. It's an opportunity to live on campus and to have that college life experience. There's also a program, Aggies Elevated Eastern, and it just opened this year, and that's where our youth advisory board member is attending. And so we have this information in our work booklets. If you would like to reach out to them, they can give you all of the information about the requirements and the program content and if it would be a good fit for your youth. The last one I have for you is Wolverines Elevated at Utah Valley University. And in fact, I was on Utah State. I just Googled Aggies Elevated, and there was a whole video that came up tonight that kind of showed me a little bit more about the program and what it would be like for Jackson to attend there. So you can Google each of these programs or reach out to Morgan or to the facilitators of the USU program for more detailed information on each program. The last program is the Passages program, and this is also at UVU. And this is more autism-based. It might be a good entry point for some people for the college experience. And so that's an option too. That's kind of a step back from the UVU program. Okay, now I want to shift gears one more time. I know that we're running out of time, but I just want you to think about your youth. And I think about Jackson. And what can he do independently? What tasks does he need help with? Where am I still kind of stepping forward and taking the lead? What about planning his day? When he doesn't have work or school, does he have ideas about what he wants his day to look like? Are there any social engagements that he can coordinate himself? The answer is no. I'm his person. And so as I think about Jackson and skills that I want him to gain so that he can be a dependent, because I'm not going to be here forever. I'm not going to always be able to be his caregiver. So I have to think, okay, can he do his own laundry? Is he really good about showering and deodorant and brushing his teeth? Would he, if he had a ride to the store, would he be able to get food for the week? Can he use his debit card to order food and pay for food? Does he understand budgeting? Like if he was on a budget with a roommate, would he be able to set aside, $700 a month for his rent or whatever he needed? These are all things that we have to consider. And so all of this is covered in our curriculum in the yellow section of our work booklets. But one tool that we sometimes forget about, and we wanted to make sure you remember about independent learning centers. And these are across the state, and they are a non-residential facility. So Jackson wouldn't live there. It would be something where he would visit, and they provide services. It's kind of like they take your IEP and they gear it towards independent living. So it's not exactly an IEP, but it's that same idea. And they create an independent living plan, and each of these plans contains goals. So if Jackson really needed help with cooking, they could help him learn some recipes or work on shopping or budgeting, or maybe understanding transportation and getting training on transportation. Maybe he needs help with socialization, which he does, or identifying recreation opportunities. All of those are things that they could work on with Jackson through these independent learning centers around the state of Utah. And these services are provided at no cost, and they're funded through state and federal grants and also private donations. And so here's just a quick list. You can find these if you just Google independent living centers in Utah. These are just the first 6 that came up for me tonight. And they're a great opportunity for people to get help with peer support. It's an information and referral program so that they can really dial into each specific individual. You hear that saying, if you know one person with autism, you know one person with autism. And that's how it is. Each of our youth are going to need different things. Where some youth, like this young woman on our advisory board, is just thriving at Aggies Elevated. And I'm just not sure if Aggies Elevated would be a good fit for Jackson because of the rigidity and his structure that's required in his life. But is there an area where Jackson could try to figure out transportation better? Absolutely. And so I can dial into those specific things with Jackson that will help him to be more independent and more successful in his life. And, you know, there's been times where Jackson has just struggled. He's like, why does it have to be so hard? I'm just tired of it being like this. And as a mom, I'm tired too. It's been a hard week. I don't know if it's the weather or the repeated snowstorms, but the behavior this week's been next level. And I get tired too. And so I just think, what can I do to help Jackson have more independence? What can I do to help Jackson be more happy and more fulfilled, and that he can live the best life possible for him within his sphere of influence and within his capabilities. And also for me as a parent to have high expectations of Jackson. And so I'm grateful for opportunities like this around the state and resources, whether it's at the Utah Parent Center or through programs like these college programs that we've learned about tonight. And maybe it's hard as a parent too to identify what it is, you know, what is our next step. And so thankfully we have parent consultants. We walk the walk, we talk the talk, we live what you guys live every day. I mean, sure, our youth's disabilities are different. But we understand what that's like, that emotional piece of trying to figure out the next step. So let us do a deep dive with you. Let us figure out where you are right now, where you're kind of struggling as a parent and where your youth is kind of struggling. And let's see if we can put the pieces together through my team at Transition University or with our Utah Family Voices piece or with the Family to Family Network. You have great leaders in this network. And we have great staff at the Utah Parent Center that really want to help you. So I hope that just gives you a little taste test of Transition University. It's a huge program. Like I said, it took 3 years for us to build. The next time we teach it, it will be in February. And all of our curriculum is available in English and in Spanish. And all of those workbooklets and slideshows and all of the things that I presented tonight are also English and Spanish. And so look on our website, just go to utahparentcenter.org, click on the events tab. And in February, you'll see that training. You can register for it. And it's 3 sessions. And then our 4th session is that financial planning class that covers the estate planning, the special needs trust, ABLE accounts, all of the things that as parents we need to have in place since we're not going to be around forever. And in addition to that, we do have those free one-on-one consultations, and all of our training is free as well. So let us help you where we can. And is there any questions or anything I can answer, anything that I went through too quickly?
You wowed them, Jenny. You just wowed them.
Well, I know it's a lot, but if you will just look at that, if you just do one thing for me tonight, click on that link that says website and then Transition University, and just kind of peruse the website and just look at all the things that we have to offer. We're working on that every day, trying to add new resources and update it and really get you the tools that you need. I know that like on the guardianship video, there's already things I want to change. So we're going to re-record it. We just redesigned that guardianship booklet. The one I posted today actually came out this week. So you guys get the brand new version. So yeah, we're excited about it, and we just want to help you as much as we can, you know, because I hear every day, I wish I would have known about your services sooner. I wish I would have known about your services when my kids were little. And, you know, that's the thing. I just remember going into my 9th grade IEP meeting with Jackson, and I thought I knew all the things. And then I got to my senior year IEP meeting, and he was almost going to accidentally graduate from high school because I didn't know all the things. And so nobody can know everything. There's just too much. And so especially when you get into things like DSPD and vocational rehabilitation and just all the tips and tricks. So give us a call and we'll try to help you as best we can.